Welcome, Alexander, to Metallarium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about the Labyrinthus Stellarum, this new album, Riff in Reality, and more things related to the world, into the metal world in general. So we are starting by asking, how are you doing today? How is the band during the last year? Because your previous album, Vortex of the Worlds, was released in 2024, and now we have a new album, this new album.
Yeah, I really like making music and we spend a lot of time on it. So we try to kind of uh, go with one album per year as far as we can, and we already have even something for the next release. So we are constantly working on new material and also, we started working on some side projects right now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, nice, 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 nice. So let's talk about the composition of this new in reality. All the compositions from this new album are new, or perhaps do you rescue any composition that is still left for the previous album? Because one year, sometimes some riffs, some songs are composed during the process of the last one.
Yeah, actually, some of the songs for Rift in Reality were we begin making them when we weren't even releasing Vortex of the Worlds yet. So some songs are even made of the demo songs from maybe 2020 or 2021. So, for example, Ravenous Planet was made out of the ambient piece I came up with like 5 years ago or 4 years ago. So some songs, some parts of the songs or melodies or like chord progressions or some things, they are even older than the first Labyrinthus Stellarum track written. So yeah, some of them were written during Vortex of the World session, or maybe not as a whole, but partially.
Hmm. Okay, okay,
So
okay.
yeah.
Okay, okay. So let's talk about the reception from this last album. Sorry for this. So how it was the reception until now? Did you have time to read reviews? How it was, and how do you take a bad review, for example?
The album was reviewed, and all the mostly the comments were really positive, and lots of people really liked it, and the direction that we are moving on. There were some people that kind of said that it is not black metal anymore; it's too electronic, too modern. But there will always will be people who would want this like raw or old school black metallish vibe, and we kind of want to maintain this black metal foundation and still add a lot of new modern and progressive and electronic elements to it and kind of move in this direction. So uh, most of the people and most of the reviews really were really positive, and we are really happy that so many
Mhm.
people loved the album and supported us. So far, so great.
Great, great. And how do you take a bad review, for example?
One more time, please.
How do you take a bad review?
Uh, what do you mean by
So,
this question?
for example, a people or a media qualify this album like with a well with a negative comment or negative
There
score.
were actually no negative reviews as far as I've seen, but there were some negative comments saying, like I've said already, that this is like not black metal, or this is too modern, too electronic, too metalcore, or something. But these were mostly by people who just probably waited for us to make another Tales of the Void,
Mm.
or again and again. So, and for us, like for artists, it's interesting to develop something new, to incorporate something new, and always not do the same thing over and over again and again because it's kind of boring.
Okay. Okay, okay, okay. So now talking about loud for especially for this kind of thing because I hear the previous album Vortex of the Worlds, and at that moment you have a little influence from the deathcore, Mother Torch, and this one. But now with this riff on reality, you decide to explore more things. You explore more other kind of topics. It's not like the first two albums from Labyrinthus Stellarum. So how do you label now the band? We still consider it that the Labyrinthus Stellarum it is an atmospheric black metal because right now for me this new album is not anymore black metal. You have more stuff on it than just black metal.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to label our new album with like one genre. It's more of the mixture that has elements of atmospheric black metal with this Lustre slash Eldemar Mesarthim type of synths with double bass and pretty black metallic screams, but also elements of electronic music, also elements of metalcore, like in Rift in Reality, with even some plus minus hip hop beats in the beginning of the song, and also more clean vocals, like in Take Us Home, where the decent amount of song is like without like only clean vocals without that are not layered with screams, like we used to do on Vortex of the Worlds, where the clean vocals were also present, but they were always layered together with screams. And now there are parts like with pure clean vocals. Also, progressive metal elements, I'd say like Ravenous Planet is pretty progressive song, with like the structure and the transitions and the melodies. So there's definitely like uh progressive blackened electronic metalcore-ish metal. I don't know. So many things going on. So yeah, like this.
Okay,
In general,
that,
just
that
it's
is.
just an experimental album, like combining different things
Hmm.
and then waiting to see what will happen next and what will be people's reactions and stuff like this.
That is true. That is true. Yes, it's also experimented this album. This well, it's more progressive. You said it, progressive
Hmm.
avant-garde. I don't know. There is a lot of mixture. That's a good thing because we, as a listeners, we all the time find the well as just a fans of listeners, we have the option to find many times or hear many times the album because you find each song you find a new way, new things, new things. That's a good thing for this one. And now, one thing that captured my attention since the beginning for this riff in reality, it is that in the beginning you decide to release this album in just in LP or vinyl, and then after that you decide to release by CD. So why do you decide first on vinyl and then on CD about for this new album?
The thing is, it just happened. So it depends on how fast our labels were able to produce the merch, given the fact that we sent them the ready album pretty not really a lot of time before the album was released. So we kind of finished the album, I think. In the end of winter, and already in May it is released. So there was not a lot of time for labels to just take it in work and produce all this. So just
Okay. Okay. Another topic that captured my attention is obviously the thematic or the themes that you spoke:
Mhm.
science fiction, space. That is why mostly of people just see the cover or just see the cover art and said that's something like spatial or atmospheric just for the cover art. They don't listen to the music. Just for the cover art, this band is playing something technical. I don't know. You said it a few minutes ago about this one. So now, why do you decide to lean down all the concept from Labyrinthus Stellarum in this topic? Space, science fiction, and obviously, in some way, do you have influence from the 90s metal like Nocturnus? Like Nocturnus, it was the first band to spoke about this space and science fiction things.
I can say that I and my brother, we both are big fans of science fiction, like everywhere, in films, in books, in computer games, in TV shows, like everywhere. We always loved science fiction.
Mhm.
So it was one of the most obvious things to sing about for us. And also, the reason why we started to sing about something sci-fi-ish at the beginning was just that we kind of randomly stumbled upon my picture that I made in like 2018 that depicts these three creatures from the first album, Tales of the Void. Um, this picture then became the cover art of the album. But when we stumbled upon this picture, we decided, okay, let's sing about these creatures and let's name them Void Dwellers, and they like live in some void space and And then after this, we decided to continue this topic and to make it in the end our own sci-fi universe with our lore, with our like planets, aliens, some things going on there. And
Mhm.
from that moment, we just were developing our own sci-fi universe and lore.
Amazing, amazing. That's a good thing to know about this one, this new album, in reality. And when these kind of things, oh, you mentioned it that you create your own world, especially with these three albums. So, is there a way that these three albums are connected? Talking about the conceptual thing, perhaps the heroes or the main character in these albums are the same, perhaps are
Mm,
related as like
Uh, they
conceptual
are
albums.
they are connected. Not like all the songs are going on in the same universe, sci-fi. So they are all connected in some ways. Some songs are more abstract about like some I don't know, like cosmic winds or like
Mhm.
universes, worlds, and so on. And some of them tell the story of um, the planet Nirlak and the expedition from this planet that tried to open the rift in reality and go to the void, where the void is the first world from where the gods of this place created the other universes or created life in other universes, and they are all connected with this first world, which we named the Void. And they wanted to come to this void to find the secrets of this universe, to and so on, to just explore and know everything about stuff that's going on in the world.
Mhm.
But when they reopened this rift, the evil aliens just rushed in their dimension, and then um, the the fall of this planet, Nirlak, is told in the song Downfall from the second album. So it's
Mhm.
connected with the story of some songs on Rift in Reality. So yeah, they're all connected. They're not in the right order, chronologically, yeah. But they're all connected.
Okay, okay, interesting to know. So now, what kind of plans do you have for this Labyrinthus Stellarum, and obviously for Rift in Reality? So will you place some gigs there in Europe nearby to you? Perhaps you are promoting with a full album or for a full tour. Who knows? What kind of plans do you have for this new album, and also for Labyrinthus Stellarum? Perhaps you're already working on a second and a full album because you said it. You love to compose.
Yes, we are working on the next album. We don't have much, but kind of two, three songs maybe. One of them already with lyrics, so a little bit of stuff there is already. As for the plans, we will do tours in Ukraine, but unfortunately, doing tours in Europe is now completely impossible for Ukrainian bands, especially for small Ukrainian bands like we, because of the war and the martial law and all the stuff connected to this. So unfortunately, we will not be doing European tours in unless the war ends. But we'd love to. We really would love to. Your mic is turned off, so I can't hear you right now.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
Mhm.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm speaking with the microphone to not interrupt you. I'm so sorry for this. Okay. Interesting. So there is plan now to gig to do a full tour gig in the future for this new album. So and related with this topic. So how the things going now with all the situation that will happen in Ukraine? Because you said the bigger bands like Ginger, they don't have any kind of trouble to do a gig outside or inside of Europe. But how for you for smaller bands in Ukraine, how are the things going to do a tour, to do video, to do music now with this situation of the war?
Of course, it's much harder now for everyone, and maybe you know the situation that it happened with band Whiteboard. They should have canceled all their shows in Europe because at the last moment they were planning a tour and that at the last moment they should have canceled it because they didn't get the permission to cross the border. So just as simple as that. And Whiteboard is pretty well-known band. So for us, it will be probably impossible right now. Yeah, for bands like Ginger, who are like world big bands, it was definitely easier for them to get this permission because they can kind of, I don't know, even like earn some money for Ukraine right now. And for smaller bands, like this is not really an argument. What we won't be able to do a tour that will have like charity for Ukraine and a pretty serious with pretty serious amount of money earned. We are just too small for this right now. And also there were people that just used this um, permission to cross the border with tours and then didn't return to Ukraine. That's why it became harder for everyone because this possibility is really constricted. Like,
Hmm.
so yeah. Right now
Oh,
it's
a little harder.
yes.
Oh,
So
interesting.
we'll hope that the war ends and we will win and everything will be fine. But right now it's not that good, unfortunately.
Hmm. Okay, I understand completely. That's a shame. That is sad that most of all bands are has a little complication with the situation of the war in Ukraine. So now, talking about when we're a little far away from this concept and talking about other kind of things, as you can see now, the world is experimented with a lot of kind of music. With this new album, Riff in Reality is a proof that extreme music is not like the 80s or the 90s, when you just have very detailed information about this. Death metal, black metal, doom metal. But now you mix everything. Mostly all bands trying to mix everything with any kind of influence that they have. So now, how do you see this situation as you are a new band with this kind of concept to mix everything? And how do you see now the future of the extreme music for example, in the 5 6 years? Do you see that is good or bad that all this kind of band mix a lot of styles in just one?
I mean, it's a great question as I uh, don't really often think about like the future of the music industry. I
Mhm.
just I'm like I live more in the right now and but I think like experimenting and combining different genres is one of the best ways to kind of push the boundaries further and to come up with something new. Because like classic heavy metal, for example, or classic black metal, there are already really a lot of great bands, and it kind of it feels like doing the same thing again. You're not adding something to the whole industry, to the whole world of music. You're just copying something which doesn't really make sense, in my opinion. But trying to make something new, this makes this has some value then,
Mhm.
because it's something at least a little bit unique, at least something that you're adding to the like classic concept.
Correct.
it's even something small thing is a development, and just using the same patterns and the same ideas, well, doesn't really make sense.
Hmm. Correct, 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 correct. And now, one more thing about this question, and we are very close to this interview, Alexander. So, as you can see in the world right now, there's a great musicians around the world. Everything, everywhere is a good musicians now, good production because the technology involved now in all record on the record process is good for everyone now. More
Mhm.
accessible, not like the 80s or 90s or the beginnings of 2000s. So now, but with this information, you can see that there is a thousand of bands, a thousand bands that releasing perfect music. No mistakes in the album, no kind of errors on this one. So what? And also you are part of this new movement because you play your album sounds amazing, sounds great. No errors, no mistakes, not like the 80s nor 90s, not that sound. So now, what's your point of view about now about this standardization of the sound, especially in the extreme music? Because now we don't have any more bad albums. All albums sounds great.
Um, hmm. Uh, Oh, it's a great question, but probably unfortunately, maybe my brother would be a better fit to answer this question
Mm,
because he's our mixing engineer and he really knows about the like tendencies in today mixing in metal music because he's like doing this professionally right now. And but we don't have him now. So I mean, well, the technology and gives now opportunities even for like smaller bands with smaller budgets to make their sound great, to do things that in 80s or 90s they needed to go to the studio and now they can just use
mm.
their headphones and do everything ourselves, just using some YouTube tutorials or courses or I don't know. And the gear is much more accessible, and there's it's easier to kind of start to make a first step, and this is a great thing. So when like there are no the technical constrictions for everyone, and just it's good.
Oh, okay, okay. No, I understand. I understand. So I completely understand about this one. And one of the last questions for this interview, Alexander. So as you can see, one of thing that is very common that now the people are using the AI for the cover arts, and not just for the cover arts. Also, the AI is using for the technology, especially for the music. You can see there is programs now that it can record a music album, etc., etc. For this, and also this music is all now involved with the process of record. We have you plugins or things that are alive for this one. So what kind of point of view do you have about now this about this artificial intelligence is involved in all this process of the in all the process of this one, oh, the music, on the art in general now.
Um, I it's actually for the art in general. It's the thing that it's not a good thing because it just takes away the work of artists
Mhm.
because you know you can just in one click generate an image and use it as your cover art and you don't need to pay to the artist and just it just takes away from people their jobs, their hobbies, and this is not really cool. Of course, like in many ways, AI helps in everyday life, in some like in decision making, in like
Mhm.
in work, and so on and so on. But as for the art and like, it's definitely not a great thing.
Hmm. Okay. 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 Well, Alexander, we arrived to the sad moment of this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one like me. This new album is a great one. For me, especially, will be
Thank
to
you.
my one of the albums for the best records for the year. For me, especially, I don't know the rest. So perhaps you want to add something to your Latin American fans, obviously, and Metalerium followers.
Mm, listen to great music and make people around you happier.